2004, 2003, 2002, 1988, 99. It was all empirical stuff, all econometrics. So it's something that I use in my research as well. Now, while I was putting all this together, I kept being drawn back to something that John Maynard Keynes said, and this is something that I really try to make clear in class, and I hope I do so this semester, and that is that this is not infallible. Just because it's a number doesn't make it right, all right? That we have a tendency to, well, these results prove that so-and-so is true. As soon as you hear the word prove, you know that that person doesn't know what they're talking about. Results are supportive. Nothing proves. If we're scientists, nothing proves. By the way, there's a homework problem where they try to trick you with that. I'll just toss that in there. But we're not proving anything. We're coming up with evidence that supports our theory, all right? And so you're going to be somewhat humble about the use of econometrics. It's a wonderful tool, but you got to know that you can prove opposite things with the same data, all right? There's not all the time. And hopefully most of the time the data are such that, we can't prove just because we think something is true, although I'll talk about that during the semester too. That's a lot of problem. But, so let me just read this to you from Keynes. The object of our analysis is not to provide a machine or method of blind manipulation which will furnish an infallible answer, but to provide ourselves with an organized and orderly method of thinking out particular problems, and after we have reached provisional conclusions, by isolating the complicating factors one by one, then we go back on ourselves and allow as best we can for the probable interactions of the factors amongst themselves. Kind of complicated, but he ends it with, this is the nature of economic thinking. And what he was arguing against there in the 1930s was the use of, he was a brilliant mathematician, all right? But he was worried that economics was being overtaken by just putting some equations down and figuring, well, it's got to be right, all right? The math works. Or, I ran the regression. It works. And he's like, it doesn't work that way. We're looking at human behavior. We absolutely want to do this, all right? But we don't want to trust it to be, well, providing us with infallible answers. All right, let's see. I think that's the end of that part. Okay, now I have a schedule of what's going to happen during the semester. Again, this was recommended by the Kaler Center, so I have the same format they use. Now, I have some notes in here. Let's see. Here's this is our first week, July 6 to 10. And I called it Module 1 because that's the kind of language they use. Well, this is Module 1. But I told you what we're going to learn there. I told you what pages we'll be covering. And I actually made a note here on something to pay special attention to, and then the things that are going to be due then. I don't know that you're going to need to look at this ever again, because I also embedded all this into the online webpage. But it is here. At the very end of the syllabus, you've got all the dates for various assignments. And then they ask you to include the TCU mission statement, and they ask you to include that at the end of the semester there'll be the student perception of teaching. And I had a little line here. Note, the dean, department chair, and I actually read these. The last time I was department chair was a while ago, and we were still doing the evaluations on paper at that point. And so as a consequence, they literally gave the dean all the spot scores for all the professors in ADRAN. Now, did the dean read through them? I'll bet not. But I'll bet the dean did pick out the ones that we've been kind of worried about, right? And maybe a few others too. But, there's no way the dean could read through all of these, right? Certainly they looked at the summary statistics. Then, when I was chair, as I was saying, the dean would then pass these all out to the chairs. And I looked through them. And I had a place where I made a note on, what Dr. Quinn's were. Dr. Quinn's are always incredible. So, I would make a note about that. And I would look back at that when it came time to determine merit raises. So we really do look at that, all right? And of course, the instructor looks at them too. Let's see here. Okay, so there was the syllabus, gone over the syllabus, and we're into 38 minutes now, so let's just keep on going. Let me go back to the top of the page, which I guess will be more easier here. Let me click on important course information again. And no, let's not. Let's look at the assignments. Okay. Homework, exam 1, exam 2, and the reflections. let's look at the reflections real quick. I did this, I already told you, in order to give you five free points. And also to keep an eye on how you're doing when we're not meeting with each other all the time, to keep an eye on how you're doing. So let's go to, I want to show you how those work. So again, I'm still got this set up to where John Harvey as student, so I'm seeing exactly what you would see if you came into this page. And I'm going to click on activities and then down to assignments. And it's going to have 3 types of assignments. Here's the homework right here. There's all the homework sets. Here are the reflections, and there are the exams. And I'll have those in there later. They'll open up on the day that the exam. Oh, I see what that is. Hope that's not distracting. I just noticed that there's. Oh, I shouldn't tell you, because if you haven't been noticing it, then you wouldn't have seen it, which is obvious because that's not what the word notice means. But the reflection of, I've got these really cool like studio lights that have the little umbrella behind them and stuff, and I can see the reflection of one right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyway, maybe I'll move it a little bit because I think the light's plenty fine as it is. Pardon me. Let's see if I shift it over this way and maybe move it in a little bit. This, by the way, where I'm videoing this is, no, that's not completely better, is it? Dang light. You know, actually my daughter Meg was in theater and was in charge of lights. Unfortunately, she's off getting a graduate degree right now, so she can't help us here. Now, let's see here. Yeah, it's almost exactly the same spot as it was before. All right, let me back it up a little bit more. And then if that doesn't do it, I'm just going to give up. I mean, entirely. I'm just not even going to teach the course. Okay, that's much, much worse. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take the umbrella out. Let's see what that does. And I know that's going to be a problem with the bright light, but I can more easily move the light out of your line of sight than I can, and I can just have it bounce off the walls, the white walls. Okay, there we go. Let's see what that looks like real quick. Hey, that works a lot better. Okay, so anyway, this is the Hobbit room. This is the room over our garage that is so low that you can't be any taller than a hobbit and stand up in here. This actually is not a hobbit. That is actually Sauron, the deceiver. But he's in here too, because it's a small version of it. Okay, so going back to this, we've got all the assignments for the entire semester. Let me show you again where I got that. Activities, I'm not sure. Oh, I guess that makes it. Activities and assignments, all right? And it takes us right there. Now, I was about to tell you about the reflections, right? And let me show you the first one. I've got all these all typed up and ready to go. Click Reflection 1. Please answer the following questions for a free point added to your course grade. 1. What do you expect to learn in econometrics? What do you think this is going to be about? 2. What worries you the most about this class? Because I know it frightens a lot of people. And 3. Okay, what do you expect to learn? What are you scared about? What do you want to learn? What do you think, is there anything you're kind of excited about in this class? So, and this just, I mean, again, I guess about half the classes have my class before. And as you know, I like just hanging out in class and talking and stuff. And we're going to totally miss that. I know they're going to be Zoom, but Zoom isn't the same, as you may well know. So I want to get to know a little bit about this. And it's going to keep you engaged. I'm going to get an answer from you. And, again, it'll tell me a little bit more, and it'll give you a free point. And then, now notice the next ones. Reflection 2 is, what's been causing you the most trouble so far in the class, and what might I be able to do to help? All right, so I want to make sure you check in with me very frequently. Again, this goes back to that whole thing where at the Kaler Center, they said that the big problem is that people check out, all right, that people drift away when it's online. So I want to make sure that you are sending this to me. Oh, what's the due date? Well, it's right there. July 10th, 2020 at 5 p.m. By the way, you could go ahead and do assignment 1 if you want to. Reflection number 1. Due date, July 7th, which is the second day of class, at 5 o'clock, right? And then it follows similar to that. Reflection 3 is, and I'm sorry, let me back up here and show you the way over here. It also has the due dates over here, right? Reflection 3. That's why I said on that big diagram at the almost the last page of the syllabus, you probably don't even need that because it's got all the dates right here. Let's see, reflection 3. what concepts, this was, what concepts are causing you difficulty? How's the homework going, all right? And then reflection 4, we'll be going into exam 1 at that point, all right? So, hey, what concerns do you have going into exam 1? Again, I'm just trying to keep you, hopefully the incentive of a free point is sufficient to keep you sending these in to me so I can keep track of how everybody's doing when I don't get the feedback that I do when we're all together in class. Now, let's see. These, of course, will open up later on those exam days. All right, the homework sets. Now, how should I tell you this? Okay, first of all, I want to go back to content and go to Homework Summer 2020. And then, slide up here a little bit. For your convenience, here are all the semester assignments and the points associated with each. Note that the single most common reason for failing this class is incomplete homework. I need to tell you about that in a second. All right, so you're going to need to use that STATA program. Anyway, let me show you the assignments. Okay, so here's what you have to do from Chapter 1. You got to do 3A, 5A, B, and D, and 7A, B, and C. And that's a total of 35 points, but I'm going to make it, out of that I'm going to determine the 7, because the weight is that this is 7.5% of your course grade. So it says 35 points, but what that means is that the point values down here add up to 35. But I'm going to translate it into the equivalent of 7.5% of your total course grade. I put in red here the point values. In large part for me, that's why I originally did it, was so I can remember how much am I taking off for that. And then that way, it says up there somewhere that the points are approximate, and they're probably not. I do that just in case when I'm grading, I suddenly think to myself, I shouldn't have counted that for so many points. But it probably we're going to go exactly what we have here. So it goes through on all these, shows you the points. And when we get to Chapter 5, it even shows you the breakdown of the points. That one half for this, one half for that, one half for that. But again, that's really for me. I don't know that you need to have that. Okay, so we've got these lists of homework. The due date is, I've stopped saying midnight because midnight is neither day, right? So what do you mean midnight before that? So I've switched to 11:59. So 11:59 on Saturday. Now, I hate that that's Saturday, but that's just to give you some extra time. You should absolutely be able to finish it by Friday, all right? But in case you need some extra time, you can have till Saturday night. But it's not like I'm expecting to work on the weekend, although in a 4-week class you probably are. All right, so this goes through all these things. You'll notice every once in a while it says, no need to answer the question. So on 7D, in Chapter 2, no need to answer the question, just run the regression and show the results from the window in STATA. And then the data set is College 2. I've got a video that tells you all about how to do that. But I'm just going to show you that very briefly now. We'll go into that in more detail in just a moment. All right, so there's those 4 homework assignments. And okay, let me tell you this. I've caught a number of people cheating on this over the years. Let's see. One by copying off of each other, and another by finding the answer somewhere else, which you can do. You can look around and find the answer key, or on what's that web page? There are answers out there, and you can do that. But that's why I've got 65% of the grade on the exams. So you can't do that. All right. So and I hate to do that to you. I would rather this class be primarily the homework, but it's because of those few cheating bastards that I have to do what I do. All right. So I'm going to keep an eye out for it. I've caught people on a number of occasions. I absolutely turn them in because that's what you promised to do, and that's what the honest members of the classroom want me to do. I can't tell you. Well, I'm sure that 99% of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is infuriating to find out that somebody cheated on something if you're the honest student. And so I want to make absolutely sure that I am your advocate. I am your defender, the honest student. So let's see. 7.5%. Okay. And I want to tell you this too. Okay, so I caught 4 people cheating at the end of spring semester when we were basically going to pass pretty much everybody, all right? Unless you did something really stupid. because of what happened, we were, and nobody ever said this out loud. I never got a directive from the university saying, make sure everybody can pass. But you kind of got the sense of, hey, man, everything sucks right now. We're going to let you change it to pass, fail after the semester was over, stuff like that. 4 idiots are retaking my classes from the spring because they cheated. And they otherwise would have passed, I'm sure. And I want to tell you about those cases because the same circumstances could come up here. Okay, so it was a take-home exam in intermediate macro and in contending perspectives. And it was 2, I caught 2 in one class. Where's my hand? There it is, 2 in one class and 2 in the other. I caught 2 in one class, 2 in the other. In both cases, one guy on the take-home exam had done all the work and the other guy copied all the work. I'm going to tell you right now, people who work, and when somebody contacts you to see if you'll give them the answer, if they're so lazy that they're not going to do it themselves, they're also not going to change enough on what they turn in to make sure that I don't catch them. Because in both cases, I'm looking at the 2 exams, I'm like, well, see, make sure I'm on screen. Well, that's weird. They gave the exact same example for that, and that was a weird example. I guess I should look at the rest of the test. My God, the lazy member of each pair had basically block copied what the other person had sent them and pasted it. And you can imagine how excited the people who were cheated off of were about that because they would have passed. And but it's academic dishonesty. You let somebody cheat off of you, so I gave 0s for those assignments, and they're all 4 retaking the course. Lesson being, if somebody contacts you to ask you for your answers, say, I haven't worked that one out yet. I don't know. I'm struggling with that one. Because if they're lazy enough to do that, they don't have enough energy to make sure you don't get caught. All right, so don't get screwed. Let's say, I have an incoming message. It's nothing. All right, let's see. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about that cheating issue. All right. Now let me show you. That was off of content, right? And it was off of important course information. And so there you've got the syllabus and the homework. And then class, lecture, and homework playlists. All right, so there's my YouTube course lecture playlist and my YouTube homework and Stata playlist. That was Melanie just now that stopped by to tell me that dinner's ready. So I better hurry up. Now, you don't need to use this because I try to overdo it on giving you the due dates in 10 different places and giving you the links in 10 different places. So I want to think that you don't have to remember, oh crap, where did he put that? Well, you point just about anywhere and you're going to find it. All right, so I'll tell you all about the YouTube homework and Stata playlist in just a minute. And then here's the thing about downloading the software, but of course I emailed that to y'all just a couple of days ago. But here's another place. Here's the download link for Windows. There's the download link for Mac. And remember, this was under, I'm going to click on it again, important course information. And so it had the syllabus, the homework, the playlists on YouTube for both the lectures and I guess let me go ahead and tell you about this a little bit real quick. I have a video. Let's go there. And okay, it's already lined up. Introduction to Stata as show in, terribly sorry about that, should be as shown in, Chapter 1 Appendix. The Chapter 1 Appendix goes through how to use Stata, all right? And so what I did was, I thought, not only do we need the lectures in this class, but you need some specific instructions on the homework and on using the software, all right? So that's what this is. This is me doing 15 minutes on telling you, you can read it in the book, but let's go through it together, all right? So I get the book out and I go through it to make sure you can do it. Then, Introduction to Chapter 1 homework questions. All right, well, so get this. What I do is, let me back up here and go back to important course information, homework. What I am doing in that video is going through with you Chapter 1, number 3A, Number 5, A, B, and D. 7, A, B, and C. I'm not giving you the answers, of course, but I'm trying to make sure you understand which way you should be going with these things, and sometimes there's a trick involved or whatever. But that first video goes over that homework right there. So I sat down and went over this on video, gosh, a month ago at least. And let me go back up here. Yeah. Chapter 1 homework questions, Chapter 2 homework questions, Chapter 3. I do it for every set of homework you've got. I sat down and went through it with you. And in this way, again, being such a difficult semester, I wanted to make sure you had a permanent place where you could always go to. It's one thing explaining it to you in Zoom, but then you're back sitting in your, I started to say back home, but we can't leave our homes. You are sitting in front of your computer thinking, God, what did he say about that? I said it right here too. All right, so you've got all these videos to help you through the homework. Now, let me go back here and show you something even more exciting. Okay, so that's everything under. Oh wait, is it? Let me look at the bottom here. Oh yeah, I already told you about the state of the thing. Okay, so that's everything under that. Now, what if I were to click on Monday, July 6th? What would I find? I would find the videos for. I don't know how this sucker works. Oh, I may have to fix that. Look at that. That doesn't come up. Oh, wait. I just click on that. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So you can, there's me. Hi, John. And that's me going over some econometrics. So when you look at that date there again, let's go back to that content. And this took for freaking ever. I wish I was teaching econometrics again in the fall, because this took so long to put all this together. I'd like to use it again, and I will next summer, I'm sure, but I'd like to use it again now. This was a lot of work. But you click on Monday, July the 6th, you've got the intro to the course, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to put that in there. And Chapter 1 lecture, they're the two Chapter 1 lecture videos. Then there's the Chapter 1 homework video. The thing I showed you externally a minute ago, it's also here. Introduction to Chapter 1 homework questions. And here I am. Hey, let's listen to me. Oh, wait, I think I have the TV turned down anyway. This is my big 60-inch TV up here to watch exciting blockbuster movies. So, yeah, you can see here, I was doing the same thing. I'm going over all the homework in Chapter 1. All right, so each day has the appropriate videos for the for that day, and I'm guessing how far we're going to get in terms of lecture. I'm really guessing, but it's got the appropriate videos. And let me close that back up again. Oh no, let me go down to Tuesday. Guess what? It does the same thing. Or okay, now here's something really important. Okay, let's say you're going to sit down and do the homework. I don't know. Personally, I would just like to know where the YouTube playlist is and pick videos off of there. But I figured it'd be a good idea to associate it with specific days. And that's what you have over there. I'm sorry. Let me finish that before I go to this. I'm just excited about this last thing here. Okay, so Tuesday, Chapter 1 videos continued. Wednesday, what have I got there? Chapter 2 videos, and then Chapter 2 homework videos. So you can click on those specific days to find those specific videos, or you can go to the playlist. Again, I try to do overkill on having the same thing in several places so you don't have to keep looking for it. Now, as dinner is ready, let me finish up on this point. Assignments. All right. Again, you get your due dates over here. I was really struggling with this. Let me show you. Let me pull out a homework problem here. I really want... Okay, here we go. Check this out. Here's one of the homework problems. And I would much prefer that you type out your answers and send them to me. It's going to be much easier to give you feedback than to write it out and send me photographs. It's going to be much harder to do it that way, so let's not do it that way. I went to great lengths to make sure that I could make it easy for you. Because obviously it's easier to write out the equation I just showed you than to type it up, right? Well, the Kaler Center had an idea. They said, well, give them like a cheat sheet with all the equations and so forth that they don't have to go looking for where beta is in Word. They can just block, copy it, and paste it. I took it a step further. I got to thinking, and this was insane, it took me all day, but I got to thinking, why don't I just Oh, and by the way, when you click on the homeworks, it repeats everything that was on that homework sheet. It repeats what the assignments are. Again, I want to put it in multiple places so you don't sit there and look and look and look. But see this right here? I just added this morning. Download this. All right, so I'm going to click on homework sheet 1. And here it is down here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, that'll work. That's okay. Let me actually zoom in just a little bit. Oh, I guess I should do this thing down here. Let's see, plus. Okay. You can do your homework on this page and turn in this page. I typed out all the questions from the book. Now, I could block copy a lot of stuff because I also have a PDF version of this, but a lot of it I couldn't. So it took hours upon hours. But check out what you got now. This is the question in chapter 1, number 3A. And then I have in blue right there, your answer here. So you've got the question repeated from the book. You type your answer here. And of course, it's going to push down. You can repaginate it however you want to. Check out this equation right here that you don't have to type. See that sucker? That's complicated. Already in there for you. If you wanted to mention one of these things in your answer, just got to block copy it now and paste it, all right? So I typed up all of the homework for the entire semester so that you wouldn't have to worry about that. Your answer here, and so on. And I repeated the point values. I thought, well, let's do that again too. Look at that. That's a real complicated one. Good. Here's one. Paste regression results here, all right? When you watch the video that tells you how to use Stata, the video from me, I'm going to show you, or maybe it's the first one on homework. I think maybe the first one on homework. I'm going to show you how when Stata gives you results, you can like block over it and then right-click and then tell it, I want to copy this as a picture and paste it into my homework. You don't have to tell it that part. It doesn't care where you're pasting it. And then paste it in your homework. And so, well, where am I going to put that in my homework? Well, put it right here. All right. I've already got to put. So when I first wrote this up, it was kind of confusing. Do I need to have an answer yet? Oh yeah. This is the end of the question. Put an answer here. Put an answer here. Put an answer here. Everywhere it has in blue telling you where you need to plug in an answer of some sort. Yeah. Oh man. Like I said, I wish I was teaching this again in the fall because this was a ton of work, but I'm really excited about how it worked out, and I really hope that that's going to make life a lot simpler for you. And notice, by the way, once again, you've got the video instructions. I have it in multiple places. You got the video instructions again right there. You don't have to go looking for it. If you can just click right there, and it takes you straight to here are the instructions on the homework on chapter 1. Just wondering what I was wondering if I talked about that pasting thing in here somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, so wow, that must be like really freaky for you to see me twice. And me, I see me twice all the time. So now let's see. I think that's everything for the introductory video. Yeah. And let me add this. Let me add this last thing here. That when I do write the exams, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this exact same format. This was really handy that I did this because now I'm thinking, hey, I ought to do the exams exactly like this. And you'll be so used to the format. You will already have been answering homework with a question and then your answer here in blue sort of thing. So hopefully that'll reduce some uncertainties. Anyway, I guess that's it. I have no earthly idea what we're eating tonight. We had leftover spaghetti. I had that for lunch, and I suggested having it for dinner again because I'm okay with leftovers, but Melanie is generally not. So we'll find out. Anyway, may the force be with you. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, I got to walk up there to turn them off. That's right.